Onwards towards the end of the game. Again, I really wish things were done in a way that made it easier to feel like we're making progress other than just the number of missions left shrinking. There's just no sense that the 33 missions before this had any real impact. It's just one job after another that doesn't really feel like they lead to anything.
このところ、ゴーダの情報が他国へ流出しているとの知らせがあった。
Well, we've certainly been dealing with a good number of spies lately. I suppose that's better than just dealing with bandits and merchants. How many times have we seen this same scene with this same lady sprite for this same map? The only real difference I can tell at the moment is she wasn't drinking from a teacup this time. It's almost enough to make you wonder if we're in a Groundhog Day loop or something. Bit of a shame that we've been seen, but then we've been seen so many times in this game so far that it's kind of lost its sense of oh shit. It has just been smooth sailing for quite a large chunk of the game. We've only had to repeat one mission over the course of the game, and certainly haven't made that mistake to such a degree again to screw us over at any other point. Again, how many times have we slaughtered enemies like this over the course of the game? Okay, that fell short even compared to other assassination missions we've been on. Ah well, I suppose that means more of a chance to do other missions in this clip. Extremist, huh? And just what makes this guy too extreme for the Sengoku period? I'm sorry, but that just sounds like so many of the merchants we've killed so far, so why is he called an extremist? Seriously, when I see that word, I expect to see an absolute psychopath. And this game just doesn't have the storytelling to pull off that sort of thing. Yeah, just another assassination mission with a different location that we've gotten very familiar with. It's never gonna stop feeling nice to kill enemies back to back without having to slow down. Shame that some of the other aspects around here have started to feel a bit old, mostly because we've gone through so many missions that don't really feel all that different to me for the most part. At what point should I feel sorry for the number of people we're slaughtering in mission after mission? They just don't stand a chance against us, considering how into the groove of the game's mechanics I am this far into the game. Was I supposed to up the difficulty as we kept going through missions earlier on or something? Wait, no, there are only 3 difficulty settings in the game. This is how things were probably intended to go. And that's 2 missions down in a hurry. As if we needed more evidence that we've been to the same places all too often. Right, another mission down and time to get to the next one. I wonder if I'm ever going to be tempted to buy some more cosmetic stuff, or if we're just gonna keep gathering money for some random reason. Right, time to kill another ninja master who isn't going to feel different from anyone else we've assassinated here.
患者に処分を下したと時を同じくして東堂が暗殺されたとの知らせが飛び込んできた。使えぬと分かればすぐに切り捨てるやり口は。
Why is the narrator acting like that's a heinous thing? Seriously, it's pretty tough to make a clan of ninjas feel like especially heinous villains when the heroes are ninjas as well. We're both stabbing people in the back constantly, doing various bits of spying and sabotage. I suppose seeing Shiggy is supposed to make things scary for us here, but it's not really doing anything for me, partly because the story hasn't actually been doing much of anything, period. Definitely a bad sign that the game can't make us care about any of the major characters in it. I have only some level of care about Rikimaru, the guy we keep seeing when we go to the mission select screen, but that's only because that masked man is a playable character in earlier Tenchu games that I will do later. The player character in this game is a blank slate. The partner character that we also made has done nothing. Shiggy has had no screen time to actually build a personality, and we know nothing about Goda's or Ogawara's clan leaders at this point of the story in this particular game. It's funny how this game is in some ways similar to EDF 2017, but it just doesn't feel as good. Again, it feels like a game with a massive number of missions, and repeating maps works better for an action genre, not stealth. Action, it's easier to just turn off your brain in various sections and still do plenty of ass kicking. Whereas stealth games, you need to plan your route to some degree, try to anticipate where the various enemies are, and yeah, just keep thinking things through. Anyway, that was a bit embarrassing. I thought that guy was a hostile, not a civilian. I suppose that makes up for me managing to get through the previous mission without being spotted a single time. Definitely feels like we're leaving plenty of people dead around here. Wish I could give a damn. Huh. I wasn't expecting our target to be just standing around outside. I really wish you actually did something for us instead of just showing up for cutscenes. Seriously, you don't have the right to knock the enemy down like that verbally if you aren't actually doing anything yourself. And look at that. Shiggy caught us by surprise to try to make things feel more tense. That's what you get for getting that style of cocky while still in hostile territory. Wait, Shiggy didn't do anything about the player character herself while we were unconscious there? What the flying fuck is that? We were blatantly in a dangerous position, in a dangerous place, and nobody does anything to us? But they take away our useless partner. The partner who has done nothing in the story other than speak a few lines after the game had us go through the trouble of coming up with his appearance at the start of the frickin' game. I'm sorry, but the story here is nowhere near good enough to make me want to go rescue him. Granted, they didn't do anything to make me actively hate the bastard, but apathy can be worse than hatred sometimes. This mission is supposed to be something that raises the stakes, but emotionally I feel no different from any other mission where we have to run to a target point to trigger the cutscene and the score screen.
ゴーダ領内に潜んでいたのは敵国の忍びシーであった。そのシーによって忍びの一人が捕らえられてしまう。
Great. Even the briefing before we try to rescue him says our placeholder comrade is essentially useless. Can anyone else see the death flags getting raised here? Does anyone even care about them?
確認すべき事柄は残っている。
Part of me wants to ask why that guy just got killed. The other is distracted by the lack of blood on the sword, considering this game has had a lot of stabbings in it. Well, that's certainly a bad sign for their working relationship. The fact that Shiggy just casually pushed the sword away is the biggest hint that he's gonna backstab this generic hothead of a leader.
こちらとしてはいろいろと聞き出しておきたいのだが。シギよ、わしに新たな杯を持て。
Yes, send the highly trained ninja that you apparently hold no respect for to grab your drink, because there's no way that could end badly, like the man deciding to poison you. Or maybe he'll just choose not to intervene when we have to take you down in a later mission. Or at least I assume that it's the overall Ogawaga leader. He looks pretty generic for it, but Either way, it's pretty blatant that Shiggy's gonna be doing some measure of backstabbing. And again, the way this story has been going, this is not really working for me. There just hasn't been enough missions with story-relevant stuff going on, so the pacing is rather crap. And it's not like the characters themselves have done all that much, despite the fact that we're 37 missions in now. I probably should spend more time trying to check where all the enemies are to avoid being seen. Not just start thinking of killing someone the moment we first see them, then quickly looking to see if there's anyone nearby who might see them as we kill them. I mean, sure, it's worked for me in this particular game for a good chunk of it, but I'm pretty sure when I start working on the other Tenchu tiles that might not be enough. And I very much doubt that approach will fly if I try to use it in other stealth games like Metal Gear Solid or Splinter Cell. Okay, there's our man. That's another mission down. So they don't bother to change our expression or the expression of the guy we're saving as he gives his dying breath. Hell, they can't even be bothered to leave any visible wounds on his body or blood on the ground. Excuse me for not feeling all that invested in your fate or the fate of your nation in this game, sir. You can't even actually shut his eyes now, can you? Seriously, who decided to have so much zooming in when the character sprites are all so static? And why did they even bother to give us an emotional moment in a game with a story structure like this? Right. So our stats have raised again at an arbitrary point, as if the fact that the enemies never improve and we've been tearing through them quite a bit, especially recently, isn't a big sign that we don't need leveling up in this game. Hell, remember just how close that fight against Shiggy earlier in the game was? Well, unless he's done some leveling up as well, we're gonna rip through him with ease if there's ever a rematch. And considering he's the only distinctive-looking enemy we've seen over the course of the game, oh, we're definitely getting that rematch. Well, let's not give our girl facial hair. That's just gonna look weird, regardless of how bad the faces in general look around here. Right. I suppose going from ponytail to loose hair to short hair is a bit of a journey for this nameless girl, but I'm not too sure it's really worth changing hairstyles to that, considering how little emotional impact that loss had. Yeah, definitely back to the previous longer, loose hair. I suppose it helps that we've got a lot of money to burn right now. Oh, that's nice. Definitely like that jacket. Makes me think of Anko from the Naruto series, one of many characters that feels underused there. But then that series has a large number of underused characters, because it was a massive cast when the author could only really work with a handful at best at the time. This game is not capable of making even one character feel like they've got a good amount of attention on them, despite the sheer length of the game. Ugh. Anyway, if we've got enough time for one last mission on the clip, let's see how this goes.
仲間の密偵の調べによって城下に入り込んでいる小川原の手の者が隠れ蓑にしている商人街の場所が判明。
The entire village are enemies then, huh? Well, that's a bit awkward. Ah, well, we're generally pretty thorough when it comes to slaughtering a nameless goon, so we're the right person for the job.
合田の国より返してはならない。
Why did they even feel the need to tell us to show the enemy no mercy in this game? When have we ever had the opportunity to be merciful? That feels about as ridiculous as the previous mission, telling us to not get all emotional after what was going on. Well, that was so embarrassing it's worth starting the mission over from scratch. I'm not perfect, certainly never claimed that I'm absolutely amazing at any of the games I've LP'd, but generally speaking, when I decide to LP a game, it's because I'm reasonably confident I'll be able to get from beginning to end with relatively few hiccups. We have been doing pretty well in this game so far, and the end is approaching. Sure, it is still several clips away, but it's still a pretty easy to reach amount of time. We're past the halfway point with an average of 4 missions per clip. I would be surprised if it takes me more than 4 clips to finish what's left of this thing from here. There's no need to go, what the hell. You should already know what's coming. Or at least your superiors should have told you that there was good risk of ninjas showing up to slaughter you for taking residence in their clan's territory. Anyway, it kind of felt like the mission briefing lied, since there certainly looks like a civilian down there to me. So it is not, in fact, a mission to annihilate absolutely everyone in the village. There will be survivors to be absolutely horrified by the proverbial plague that hit the area. Hell, Even if you know it's coming, I'm sure waking up in the morning to find 17 corpses spread all over the place would be rather disconcerting. Right. I guess it was just a matter of time before we got spotted. At least it's a more respectable point to be spotted around here. Right, just 7 more to go. Considering the Naruto comparison I made earlier based on the fishnet shirt with a jacket on top we put on, I can't help wondering just what rank of ninja I'd end up being in the Naruto world. I'm pretty sure just based on sheer experience from our actions in this game and the Batman Arkham games that our stealth is pretty respectable. Not amazing, but respectable. And the fact that I tend to stick with boring yet practical tactics and moves would probably be a point in my favor even if I never do anything especially extraordinary over the course of a given encounter. Three more to go and we're done here. Hopefully I can keep avoiding killing the civilian. Been a while since we've seen a dog in this game, and I'm oddly disappointed the dog didn't count for the counter there, considering it's a hostile. Not seeing anyone obvious here. Ah! Someone's patrolling on the roof. I suppose that's fair enough, considering how many times we've used the roofs over the course of the game. And as usual, we get the Ninja 5 rating.